Hello, welcome to Sip's Wood Chips. I'm Sip Mendes. Last week I showed you how I made a new mandrel for turning the new bottle stopper tips that I got. Okay, I was waiting on a tap, so I got a new tap for it, and it turns out that these are actually 8 millimeter by 1.25 millimeter. So I have a leftover piece of this Mesquite Burl that I've used before, and I'm going to show you how I made a wine stopper, the new ones, and turned out pretty good. So let's go over the lathe and I'll show you how I did that. So remember, make sure you read and understand all the instructions that come with your power tools and equipment. Wood turning is fun, but it's important to work safely. So here's the piece of wood I have here. It's a piece of Mesquite Burl, I guess. And it's got a lot of insect damage and stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and slice it up and maybe I can make some bottle stoppers out of it. Well, you can tell how rotted it is inside. It's getting better. This is looking pretty good. This is going to fly, I think. Not so bad. I think I'll soak that with sanding sealer. I think I'll soak this piece with sanding sealer. Pretty solid. So I'm going to give this block a little coating of sanding sealer, and that'll soak in between the cracks here and into this rotted wood, and maybe it'll hold it together when I turn it. Or if it flies out, maybe it'll fly out as just a single chunk. It makes it easier to gather the pieces. And this takes about 30 minutes to really harden. Okay, so I'm ready to drill my hole, and I'm going to drill it a little bit off center. I'm going to move it away from the rotted part. I think it's solid from here to the corner, so I'm going to drill halfway between there. And I'm using a, what am I using? I'm drilling a 1964 hole. need to drill at least an inch in, because my new mandrel is a little bit longer than I expected it to be. That should be good. And as you can see, it's a little bit off center from this. It's more towards that corner. So I have the mandrel I made last week, and I'm going to take off this nut. It doesn't need that. And I'm going to mount that on there. And number 1 is up, so I'm always going to put number 1 up. If you assemble everything the same way every time, it usually makes things easier. Okay. It's all steel on steel. I have a little piece of beeswax here. I'm going to go ahead and wax the threads. That's so it won't stick. I'm going to thread this with my new tap, and it's actually an 8mm by 1.25 threads per millimeter. Take that out of there, and I'll tap it probably more than half, a little bit more than halfway. And that way those last threads, hopefully they'll dig into it. So I'm going to spin it at 500. And while it's spinning, then we'll bring up the tailstock for support. So I have my turning schmuck on, and I have my face shield on. I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch gouge, spindle gouge. Spin it at 850 RPMs, and we'll see how well that goes. Check, make sure everything's locked down. Okay. So I want to keep as much of this as I can, but I still have to get rid of that because those are saw cuts. here's how much I've done so far. I still have a saw cut in here of some sort, so I got to thin that down. Let's have a flat spot there, so it still has to go down some more. This is looking really good though. I'll have to taper this down till it's almost 1 inch. So, I think it's holding together. Actually looks pretty good there. I think all my tool marks are gone. Okay. I'm gonna make this a little bit more concaved. Let's see. Now we'll see how solid this piece of wood is. I'm going to go ahead and start with this end here. See if we don't get any catches. Go ahead and go to a 1/2 inch round nose scraper. Okay. And I think as far as shaping is concerned, I think I'm done. I'm gonna go ahead and brush that down with some I'm gonna go ahead and brush that down with some sanding sealer before I start sanding. So this is kind of quite jagged, so I need to be careful when I sand this. This is 150. I'm starting with 150. And I'll move my speed up to 1,000. And I'm only sanding it to get rid of some of the tool marks. Smooth out the curves a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and sand it with some 220. And then a very light sanding with 320. That looks pretty good. Let me get some polyurethane and we'll give it a coat. So I've got a piece of wood here to protect the bed of my lathe. Just use a small piece of white cloth to apply the polyurethane. And oh yeah, that brings out the color. I think I'll put a little bit in this cup here. brush and brush some of that in there. So I'm going to use a little brush to get down deep into the crevices. Otherwise they'll be left full of dust and not get coated. I really think getting the varnish in there or sealer really hardens the wood and keeps it from falling apart on you. People like the character of the wood, but they don't like for it to break up. So I changed the angle on the camera a little bit. And I'm just going to wipe off the excess. It's been soaking for a couple of minutes. And we'll let that dry for 30 minutes and then I'll give it another coat. And I purchased this epoxy recently and I really didn't like it. Some people might because it turns very, very clear, but unfortunately it's very, very brittle, and so I've had things break apart. The one I usually buy is from Hobby Lobby. It's a little bit more rubbery. This stuff is way too brittle. It's probably good stuff. That's probably why it turns clear. So real high gloss, but it turns almost crystal-like, or crystalline, I should say. Okay. So here's my finished stopper. If you've enjoyed this video, click on like. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're not a member of YouTube, sign up for an account. It's easy. You can ask questions, get answers, and leave comments.